Hey, this is Freddie Stevenson from Trials of Triumph. Today we have a special episode for you. I'm here with Shawn French, who's a TEDx speaker, mental performance coach, and a podcast host. Man, how you doing?
I'm good, bro. It's good to come up and see you, man. Finally get to lay my eyes on you in person.
Yeah,
You're much
man.
bigger than I thought, man. Or I'm much smaller than I thought. Maybe that might be
Yeah,
it
everybody on, for some reason, when they look at me on social media, they say the same thing. So I might need some better angles when I post
I'm telling
pictures.
you, man, you got to talk to your people because I thought like maybe, okay, 6 foot, just a big old jacked up dude. I'm like, man, you're massive. So, them pictures, they're going to look funny.
So how you feeling? I know you in the area for some business, man. Talk to us. How you feeling?
I'm feeling good, man. It's a Monday. I feel like there's not enough caffeine in the world to get me going today, but I'm excited, man. I'm feeling really good. A lot of good things going on in business and then with my show and a lot of great things. So I'm just grateful to be here, man, to wrap it with you in person. This is cool.
Yeah, we had the opportunity to come on your show, man. I enjoyed it. I talked about my story.
Yeah.
The first question I remember you asked me, kind of about my background, but we were talking behind the scenes. You tell me you're from San Francisco. Tell me, about that transition from San Francisco to Florida.
My gosh, man, it's long. It's going to be a long story, but I'll try to be precise as possible. Grew up in Cali, the San Francisco Bay, East Bay specifically, Concord, Walnut Creek area, and I spent my childhood there, the first 21 years of my life, and grew up there. Played my baseball, high school baseball, and my junior college baseball, and quickly after that, after my last year in JUCO, I got a small athletic scholarship to Louisiana State University. And, I think I turned down all the full rides, all the crazy things. Just young kid being stupid was like, man, I'm going to go play at LSU. They just won, their 5th national championship in 10 years. I'm going to go be part of that culture. So I went out there, and I was there for 3 years. I feel like I was in college for about a decade, bro. And I don't have a graduate degree to show for it. But, I wanted to put off being an adult as long as possible. I wanted to play out my full eligibility. And shortly after playing in 2003, went to the College World Series and, got 2 and barbecued. Lost to Cal State Fullerton and then South Carolina. Quickly right then, standing in the right field line, I realized, like, man, I didn't know who I was. We talk about that a lot, and with athletes, like, once the sport is done, like, who are you truly? If you haven't done the work on the inside, you don't know. So I wanted to stay in Louisiana. My dad was like, you are not staying in Louisiana. You're going to come to Florida and you're going to get yourself one of those things called a JOB. I'm like, well, I'm going to get one here. There's a lot of alumni that I feel like I want to still be connected with. Back then, your parents have a lot of influence on you, right? Mm-hmm. So I went out to Florida. At that point, they lived in Northport. And this is 2003 now. And if you go to Northport now, you can see that it's grown a little bit. It's a small little city in Sarasota County. And, man, there was nothing there. And I was just, man, what am I going to do? So I started doing some odd jobs. I did, the permanent substitute teaching. I even did inside sales at this equipment rental place where they called me the college idiot because I couldn't figure out how to rent out chipping hammers and scaffold. And, man, that was hard for me. And I quickly realized I wanted to go into coaching. I wanted to give back to the youth, and I wanted to be a baseball coach because eventually I want to coach, the big D1 level, like at an LSU or something like that. And so I took my coaching cert. I'm not my coaching cert. My apologies. My teaching certification. Now, this is way back in the day when they did it on Scantron, right? It was 2003, or 4-ish. So I had to go up to UCF. I did the sit down, certification in person, and they lost my test. They finally got them on the phone, like, hey, where's my results? Yada, yada, yada. Oh, we lost them results. So I had one of those moments, those fission points where, like, you feel like this nuclear bomb goes off in your mind. It's like, well, I can't be here. Like, there's nothing for me here. My family's here, but I missed Cali. I missed my friends, and I wanted to go home. So I packed up my car that day and said, I'm out. And my family was like, you don't have a place to live. You don't have a job. I go, well, thank God I got 3 days to figure it out. So driving back to Cali, I found a job and a place to live on the trip over. And I ended up getting into this thing called mortgages that everybody was doing. All my buddies, they were working for this company back in the day called AmeriQuest. And eventually that company got shut down because they were doing a lot of predatory, fees and everything like that, just adding on to these people's mortgage balances with all the extra stuff. And once I realized what was going on, I walked into the office that day and I quit. And I went to a brokerage and I did the mortgage broker thing for a couple years, and I did really well until I didn't, right? And they had bubble that burst in 2008, that mortgage meltdown. Walked in the day on a Monday and looked at my pipeline up there. I'm like, wow, I'm gonna make so much money today, this month. This is gonna be great. And I looked at my email, and all the banks, WAMU, Countryside, like Countrywide, sorry, all these different loan programs were now dead because you couldn't do stated income, stated assets in California again. So all my loans now, these people couldn't afford the loan that they were getting into. So quickly the money dried up, and I couldn't pay my mortgage. I had my car repoed, and my uncle, who was my father figure, told me like, hey, listen, you need to move. You need to go home. I'm like, bro, I am home. He's like, no, you're about to be homeless. You need to go to Florida. So I migrated back out to Florida, and here we are, man. I'm still here. Did the coaching thing, the teaching thing. Then I realized once I had my first child, I go, I'm never home. I don't see my kid. I live with him, and, I'm leaving the house before he wakes up, getting home after he went to bed. And, I want something more, so I got into sales, started into payroll sales, and I did really, really well at that and got into medical sales. And, eventually I just realized like, man, I just want to be my own boss, and here we are, long story long, but now we're here. I live in Southwest Florida. I own my own payroll company. And as you mentioned, I have my own, show that's growing, and I feel like it's been a slow growth and it's been painful, but it's been great, man. And it's given me the opportunity to meet great dudes like you that I've done things that I wanted to do in my life. Like, let's not get it twisted. I went to LSU for two reasons, to win a national championship and to get drafted. And I did neither of them. So when I'm able to sit across from somebody like you that won a national championship, dude, like I'm all in, man. Like, this is something that's so cool that I've been able to create in my life and meet high level people. And that's where we're at right now, man.
Talk to me about that transition for you after your playing career was over. Was it a difficult one for you mentally, trying to figure out your purpose in this world once you were no longer an athlete?
Yeah, man, this is something I've been very open about. And this is something that I lost friends over. My friends that I was close with from the time I was 12 years old, or one of them dated back all the way to, from when I was 8 years old. We're no longer tight anymore. We don't speak. Because the one thing that I found when I was done playing baseball, I had this big void inside of me, man, because I didn't know who I was. And so any type of win I can take, any type of look at me, I can get this, I did. And that meant it didn't matter if it was somebody else's girlfriend, didn't matter if it was somebody else's wife at the time. I was a bad person. I was a good person doing bad things. Let me say that. And for the longest time, I couldn't figure out why. I didn't see anything wrong with it because I was so hurt. I was so hurt emotionally that anything I could do to fill up that instant gratification to where I felt like I meant something, I did. And looking back on it, I could look and say, man, I totally see why these people don't want to be around me anymore. I'm not that dude anymore. But at the same time, that transition was the most painful thing in my life because I had no clue who Shawn French was. Mm-hmm. I had no clue. It was just a bunch of, me getting up, getting knocked down, trying to figure out who I was. And a lot of times it resulted in bad decisions, man. And, when you spend that much time in the bars, you ain't going to make very good decisions, So that's how I coped, man. I don't say that I was, I didn't have a substance abuse problem. I think when I did it, I overdid it. But, it wasn't like where I needed to go to rehab or anything like that. But it was like, dude, you're not making good life decisions and you're hurting people in the process. And I really had to be introspective. And let's be clear, at the very beginning of it, it was a lot of victim mentality. Man, I can't believe these dudes. Man, we've been friends forever. Now all of a sudden they don't want nothing to do with me. That's weak.
Yeah.
Well, the bottom line is I didn't see the line. I didn't see what I was doing in an objective manner. They did. I was putting them in the middle of things and hurting people, and they had to lie for me for so long. And, eventually I just said, no more. Like, no more. I am not this person. And it was a gradual growth process for me. And, but I also look back and I say, I don't think I would have changed it.
Yeah.
I wouldn't have changed it because I wouldn't be the husband and the father I am today. I wouldn't be the friend I am today. I wouldn't have the values that I have, and I wouldn't be where I'm at right now. I wouldn't be sitting in this seat with you, right? Because I was just going like blindly. I needed that hard reset where God said, hey, dude, you ain't living right.
Yeah.
And I'm going to show you. I'm going to take everything, and you get the choice to what you're going to do thereafter. And it took me a while to respond, because I'm stubborn, I'm bullheaded. But here we are, man. And I feel grateful for everything that I went through. And also, I've been very public, I apologize. I always say, I hope one day that these dudes just listen to one snippet, just so they know that I was wrong,
I just want to say congratulations to you. That's a big move. A lot of people aren't willing to take accountability for things that they've done wrong. And the journey of self-discovery is a tough one. And it can be a dark road. But I honestly believe, when you're going through it, and once you find out who you are, you ultimately at the same time find out who you are not at the same time. So for you, a lot of the things I went through it, transitioning into the real world, doing a lot of things that I thought I'd never do. And just trying to figure out what my purpose was. And like you said, looking for that instant gratification. Yeah. But once you find out, man, this isn't me. There's more out there in this world for me. And now you've had a high level of success. So congratulations to you making that transition, because it's not easy. Some people never figure it out.
Yeah, man.
And proud of you, man.
Thank you. It means a lot coming from you, dude. And I think you'll resonate with this. When you're going through that growth process, you do things, like you said, that you never thought you would do. Bro, the road back was so hard. I mean, hell, dude, I drove a tow truck. I don't know anything about vehicles. You want to talk about being uncomfortable? I was all greased up, going to different yards, hooking cars up to this flatbed and then taking them somewhere else and dropping them, not knowing how to reverse in a big truck. I mean, dude, think about that. That's intimidating. But, all those things, the things that we think we're too good for, we're actually really not. And it becomes part of the story, right? And that's the thing that I'm really grateful for.
Yeah, I think a lot of times in life we'll be looking at situations, wondering why we're going through them. And one of my favorite movies is The Karate Kid.
Oh yeah,
where he has Daniel's son waxing on, waxing off. We're like, why am I doing this?
Yeah.
And doesn't realize that it's getting them better. A lot of things we go through in life, we don't realize God is shaping us and He's molding us for our purpose. And a lot of things that you went through are the reason that you can go on to be successful now at a high level, and it's just the tip of the iceberg for you going to go on to do even bigger things. So, I mean, for people that are out there that may be struggling, trying to figure out that transition, and they hear stories like yours, I know it's inspirational to them.
I appreciate it. Those moments, like you said, like God works on us, and we're going to go through things that we don't really want to go through and do things that we don't really want to do. And you don't know at that time that is catapulting you to massive success. And so my message is, like, whatever you're going through, just embrace it. It's there for you for a reason, and you have two choices. You could either embrace it, like I said, and go, okay, this is for me. This is here to serve me. Or you can go, to where I was early on with the victim mentality and be like, man, why me? Why me? This sucks. I'm not successful because of this. Mm-hmm. Like, this isn't my fault. I didn't choose this. Well, that's weak. Right? We can do that all we want, but at the end of the day, I don't want to be 45 like I am now, still in that same thought process, right? So there's big decisions that we have to make when we're going through things. And I mean, you're no stranger to that, man, but it takes a big person to be like, all right, this is happening for the betterment of who I'm going to be. And this needs to happen because, once I have a wife and once I have children, like, I got to be that dude. I got to lead that family. So,
now you're a highly successful mental performance coach. You get to work with athletes, corporations, and just ultimately help people excel in their businesses and their life. For you, what was the biggest transition when you first moved into that lane, trying to make an impact, understanding that everybody functions differently? How was it? How were you able to be successful early on?
I think early on I wasn't. I mean, it's like, I always make this joke, the moment I started going into this type of space, it was like crickets. No matter what I said, no matter what I did, I felt like no one was listening, no one was buying. Because this is a good lesson. There's a certain time period where you're building trust with your audience. They need to know who you are, and they need to believe who you are. And they need to know that at the most vulnerable spots of you, that you've went through something that you can help them get out of themselves. Because I think too often, and this is where I made the mistake early, I was trying to help people with things that I had never gone through. That doesn't work.
Yeah.
Right? So I had to get real with myself and be like, okay, where can I provide the value? How can I take what I learned in sales, what I learned with baseball and working, with kids that I coach on the field, how can I bring that to the mental side? And what I realized is when I coach kids on the field, some of it's technical stuff, but most of it is, how are you perceiving this moment here, right? What kind of trigger can I create for you to unlock what you really need to do without telling you, okay, you need to keep your hands inside the ball, you need to get your foot down, you need to clear your hips, you need to do all these different things. That's when you start learning what actually works. And then you take that real life experience, and this is what I don't think a lot of people are doing now on social media. They're just going and talking. They're not taking what they're doing in real life and adding it to their social platform. I think that's where things started going really well for me, is when people said, oh, okay, now I get you. Now I understand what you're doing. You're doing all these things and you're bringing it to your platform. And that's when it started getting really fun.
That's amazing, man.
It's crazy, man.
You work with people from all different type of backgrounds, and you get to see people start off maybe at the bottom and work their way up to the top, and then you get to work with successful organizations. For you going through the process and seeing all these different aspects of the business, what would you say as far as success? What does it look like? Because a lot of people think that they can shortcut the process. They don't necessarily understand what it takes to become successful. But highly successful individuals, what's one thing or a few things that you feel like they all have in common that makes them successful?
Yeah, man. So I think at the very root of it, we all want to wake up and it be like perfect right away. We are wired for that instant gratification. I don't know if it's social media or what's going on in society, but we see something, we want it immediately. But what I've noticed is those individuals that are willing to get up when they know they're going to get knocked down about 700 more times. That builds resiliency, determination. That makes you unstoppable. I recently released an episode with my buddy Steven Scoggins, and that's what he talked about. Being unstoppable is a lifestyle. So those individuals, entrepreneurs, athletes, teachers, whatever that profession is, the most successful ones are the ones that understand that they have to put one foot in front of the other every single day. And it doesn't have to be a full-on sprint. It doesn't have to be this determination where you're mad about it. It just needs to be, okay, I don't want to do this right now, but I'm just going to get up and I'm going to go and I'm going to do it. I'm going to keep showing up. And then eventually the results begin to happen based on the lifestyle that you're living, not the words that you're saying.
Yeah. Okay. I know just transitioning and going into business, a lot of us, when we first start out, we expect our families, our friends to be our biggest supporters.
They don't want to, come on. Yeah.
We find out the hard way that that's not the case at all.
It's not, man. They look at you, because here's why, man. Let's be honest. They look at you like, bro, French, I know the shit that you did back in 2002. Like, I know you. Like, or your siblings. Like, they know you on a different level. You're just Freddie. You're just Shawn. And we really get it twisted that the masses out there that are really going to support us are the ones that we earn the respect from, right? But that's a very early lesson that I learned, not just in this business, but even in my payroll business. When I started selling payroll for a big company, like my friends that I thought were like, oh yeah, I'll get that deal. They'll come over. They'll, no. And then when I started my own business, even those friends still, like, they're more likely now to come over because of the brand that I built online and the trust that I've built. But it is a slow burn, man. But like, the people that are going to believe in you the most are the people that don't know you. Yeah. That's strange, isn't it?
Yeah, it is.
But, then eventually they come around. They come around.
Yeah, I try to tell some of my friends that are, in sales or just different fields, nobody is obligated to support you.
Yep.
Understanding this as a salesman first and foremost, it's not their job to keep your bills on. You chose to live this life. Yeah. So you got to show them that you have a substance, a product that is valuable. You got to go out every single day and show them that they need your product to solve their problems. Everybody's looking for solutions to their problems. You got to show them that you have a solution. So you got to figure out creative ways to market your business, market your product, so that they purchase from your brand. And they don't owe you anything. And it sucks when it's not your family members and stuff supporting you, but it is what it is. They're going to be the ones that at the tail end believe in you once the world catches on, but you love it. You embrace it.
Dude, it's funny because I remember I used to get pissed, man.
Yeah.
But so, you don't want to buy payroll from me? I've known you since we was kids. and then that victim mentality sets in. Then you realize, like you said, like, they don't owe you anything. They are not obligated to buy from you. You are obligated to live in such a way and to conduct your business in such a way that eventually that they will buy from you, right? But dude, that's a lesson. That's a lesson, bro, that I had to learn quick, and I didn't learn it quick. I chose not to. I labored through it. But then once you release that energy, okay, it's cool. And you know that no matter what you do, that if you move forward every single day and you live by the processes that you set forward in building your business or your brand or whatever it is, you're going to get business.
Yeah.
It's going to happen. And then eventually those people come around, right? They when there's an event and they go, oh, I need to switch payroll companies, or, oh my gosh, I really need a mental performance coach to talk to. You're the first one on the Rolodex, but you earn that, right? And it's more rewarding.
Yeah, and I think it's important for younger entrepreneurs going through the process. They have to understand, you may not get the support from the family, the friends in the beginning, but don't allow that to make you bitter. Yeah. Like now they have this saying, no bandwagons, or don't be a fan later. And I'm like, well, where does that come from? If you're in business, I don't care if you caught on 3 years later. Like, I need your business in order to run a successful business. I don't care. We don't have to hang out and be friends, but ultimately to run a business, you have to bring in sales. So getting out of your feelings and understanding you're running a business. Don't take everything personal. Try to find out ways to continue to create value for your business, and whether people catch on right now or 3 years down the line.
But what is that narrative, right?
Yeah,
like, hey, bro, if you didn't see me then, you don't see me now. Like, it takes people time. And and I'm not going to say there aren't certain people out there that I'm kind of like, all right, you mocked me, you laughed at me. Don't come to me when I'm doing XYZ because I won't respond. There are those people, but that was more of a disrespectful thing.
Yeah.
That was like, you're mocking me. Not like you don't want to do business with me. That's fine. Business is not personal, right? And the quicker that we realize that, the quicker we're going to be more successful entrepreneurs. Because, look, dude, if you go through every single day and you're building your brand or your business and you're doing it personally with emotion, like, it's going to be hard to grow, right? So we need to understand that.
For you, when you have an opportunity to impact people, that kind of had to go through the journey, and you saw them start off maybe as a person that struggled with confidence, and now they have all the confidence in the world, and now they have a successful business, and you get to see those success stories. How do you feel through that, knowing that for you it was a transition, even trying to make your way here, and now you're able to make an impact on the lives of others?
But I just think it's rewarding. We're all here. We all have a higher calling, a purpose, and I don't think anything is truly selfless, right? Like we do things for people and we help people, and it makes us feel good. Right. I'm working with an athlete right now. I won't say his name on air, but he's going through something that is just unfair. He's probably has the ability to be the best hitter in the SEC. Didn't even get a pitch hit on senior day. I mean, and that dude is so good. But then I look back at it and it's like, I didn't get to pinch hit a senior day. And we played the same team on senior day. So when things loop back around like that, and I have, just like you said, those adversities that you go through are for a bigger purpose down the road. I'm able to help that individual now get through what he or she is going through. And that makes everything so much better. And then I have peace, right? It helps me heal. And I told everybody, man, there was a big jump off point after I did the TEDx talk. I healed from that. That was more like, I gave out great information. And there's a lot of athletes and entrepreneurs that love to talk. But for me, that was therapeutic, dude. And since then, like, the opportunities that have come my way are exponential because I released that energy. But to your point, when I am able to help somebody, an entrepreneur or an athlete, and you can see the lights come on, and now every day they have a process to remind themselves of who they are, that's meaningful, man. That's impact. And I think at the end of the day, that's what we're here to do, is make an impact and serve others.
Yeah. We kind of build on the TEDx thing.
Yeah.
First off, congratulations.
Thanks, man.
That's huge. How did it feel, the process going through it, getting the call that you were chosen as one of the speakers? Kind of walk us through that process.
Dude, so when I got the email, it was like I won the lottery, right? And they chose me. I had an interview on Zoom, which was really cool because I'm like, all right, well, you're in my world now, right? I'm on a camera. I got a microphone. I can get through this interview. And it took like a month for them because I interviewed on day one. They had like 100 other people, and I was chosen. And I remember getting that email in December and just being so excited. But then, like, as the preparation started coming and the deadlines for things I had to submit, and it got really constrictive, right? And it got scary. And there was a time where I wanted to pull out of it because I'm like, wait a second, my whole talk's changing. Like, no, this is not what I want to do. But then I realized it's like, wait a second, there's a reason for this. Let's just get out there and do the things that they want you to do. Mm-hmm. And it's funny because all my outlines, all my slides, all my pre-recorded things that I submitted were absolutely god awful. They're bad. It wasn't me. Like, it wasn't my energy. It wasn't the excitement. I was just, going through this process that was very uncomfortable for me. And then when I got there, we had Friday night rehearsal. I'm thinking I need a better hook. So I'm like trying to figure out hooks, right, to hook the audience. And had a perfect hook. Perfect in my mind, right? And then I go there for rehearsal. I couldn't even get through the hook because it wasn't me. I'm not a very scripted dude. Mm-hmm. And I always talk about that. I think I've talked to you about that before. I'm not very scripted. I can have an outline of what I'm going to talk about, but I like to let my natural speaking abilities come through. Mm-hmm. And my rehearsal was just okay, but once I did that, I'm like, oh, now I know what I need to do. So the next day I wasn't very nervous. When it was actually the day of the talk, I was like, all right, let's go. Let's go. I know what I need to do. And I got up there, and when they were about to call my name, because I was like, I think 7th or 8th. So we had this full thing where 7 or 8 people went, and then we had a 45-minute intermission. And then I was the second dude on the stage after that. And once they called me to come back and get all mic'd up, dude, my heart, I felt like was about to leap out of my chest. I was more than nervous. It was like I had a visceral response. It was like the fight or flight, right? And then once I got up there in that little red circle, lights went out, gone, like blacked out, and my hook completely changed. I just said, I want everybody in here to close your eyes and remember that day when you realized what you wanted to be and who you were going to be. And then from that point on, man, that talk was just impactful. And, I got a lot of great feedback from it, stating like, man, how long did it take you to memorize that? How long did it take you to bring that energy into the talk? Like, man, I didn't know what I was going to say before I got up there. I had the outline. I had the slides. But everything from the time I stepped on that little red dot was authentic. That's what set me on fire. And but to the point, the process, it was grueling. But I want to do it again.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I love it, man. Congratulations.
Thanks.
I see you with your first forum gear.
Yeah.
I've been seeing you on your fitness grind. Like, how important is that for you, being a former athlete and getting back into, taking care of your body, taking care of your temple, and because I think for you, not just being in mental shape, but physically, you have to be on point because now you're able to shine mentally and spiritually. It all comes together as one.
Well, it's funny because, you talk about the temple. Mm-hmm. That's when it clicked for me. Well, my buddy Matthew Hedden said to me, like, hey, would you treat God like this? Would you treat his body like this? I'm like, no, dude. He's like, well, you are, because it's not yours. It's his. I'm like, oh, okay. Now there needs to be a different journey. So before, when I would gain weight and lose weight, I did it out of shame. Like, I look so terrible that I need to be losing 20 pounds in the next 40 days because I hate the way I look. And that has been my journey. It's been get in shape because of shame. Hate pictures, I'm shaming myself. And this time has been more of, I just need to take care of God's temple better. I need to create good habits, and I need to be there for the people that are around me, such as my 3 children and my wife, because I don't want to get sick, and what it's done for me is, we were talking before we hopped on, like, I have my gym clothes in the car. Like, I know I'm going to drive 2.5 hours back to Fort Myers, and my first stop is the Omni. I'm going to be at the gym. I'm going to get it in because it's something that I do now. It is just, we're redirecting the narrative in my mind of what I do. And I'm getting results, man. I'm down 8 pounds. I'm starting to sit up a little bit more in the shoulder area. I can see the strength coming back. And, we're only, 2 months in, month and a half in, like I know now what makes me feel bad when I eat it. I know what makes me feel strong and energized the next day. I know exactly how much water I need to have. You know, I still can't quite eat intuitively yet. But man, it means everything for me, because when I'm better physically, I'm better mentally. And that's when I shine, when I can articulate my words and send a message. It got to be very hard for me, dude. You know, and I've been very open about this from, I would say, August of last year until January of this year. I was laboring through episodes, man, because I didn't feel like I was congruent with my own, like, personal values, my core values. I was getting fat. I was 231 pounds, dude. You know, I'm like, how can I speak about determination when the only thing I'm determined in is my show? And I just didn't, I thought the conversations were good, but I just didn't feel like me. And so for me now, getting back into it is more of like, you know, treat God's temple how it should be treated. But then also, it's go time, dude. You got a lot of great things going on. You have to be in great physical and mental shape. And listen, man, I use the word never. I'm not looking to be shredded and have a six pack to where I'm walking around looking like, you know, Brad Pitt. I'm looking to be, you know, just lean, look the part, and show what my inner values are. I want it to show on the outside. And that's where I'm going right now.
I got you. I'm with you.
Yeah.
So outside, you know, what we talked about today, what personal 2024 goals have you set for yourself?
Well, man, we got a big relaunch and rebrand coming. Things are going to be looking a lot different soon, and it's going to be fun. So, you know, we've been working in the background on that for about 3 or 4 months. In June, we're launching, and it's going to be a blast. So for me is creating that new look, that new show, to where, like, shows the growth. And it pushes me to do more uncomfortable things. Because, dude, like, I was driving up here thinking about what's going to happen. And I'm like, I wonder if I'm going to be able to do that. How do I? I've never done it. But then you realize, like, new level, new insecurity. You know, as you level up, some new things come up that you get the opportunity to get through. And that's where I'm at right now. I'm like, wait a second. I'm going to figure this thing out. I'm going to be fine, because at the end of the day, it always is fine. Right? We're always able to level up and get through certain things. So business wise, yeah, man, for that, like, growing the payroll company, growing the show, growing the listener base and doing all that kind of stuff. And also for me, you know, physically, like with you, I'm not leaving anything on the table in 2024.
Yeah.
You know, I need to create such great habits because I want to be the strongest mentally and the strongest physically I've been in a very long time.
I love it.
Yeah, man.
I love it. For you, what's something like for somebody out there that may have went through a setback and they feel like they may not have any purpose in life, what advice would you offer somebody like that to get through that dark time?
It's funny because everybody says just move, but that's really what it is, right? So start with a 5-10 minute walk every day. Just go out there and walk. Let your oxygen get to your brain, get your blood pumping. And what you'll find is once you do that, you're not going to skip out on the work tasks that you have. Right. So then you do the work task, and then, you know, you've made 2 great decisions already. And it's like, okay, now it's lunchtime. Well, now you're going to control your decisions better. Right. So one thing is all related to everything else. So when I say just move, like, do that small thing. Right. If you're in a dark spot and you feel like you have zero momentum, and at times maybe you kind of feel useless, do something different that you haven't been doing and stick to it. And then now use that decision, you know, that discipline that you use to do something completely outside of your box, to do something else that you know you're supposed to do. And then you create momentum. And then all of a sudden you're sitting there, you know, after you've been doing that for 2 weeks, now different chambers in your mind, they are open. And now you're more creative. And I think that for me is where people need to start, because it creates a chain reaction of positive movement.
I'm with you.
Yeah, man.
We've heard your story. I mean, it's absolutely inspirational. But, you know, this last question I want to ask you before we get out of here, for you, for Shawn French, what do you feel like your ultimate God-given purpose is for you? What do you want your legacy to be when you leave this earth? And how do you want?
That's a tough one, dude.
He's
gonna leave me with a banger here. Yeah, I mean, dude, for me, it's about, we are here to serve others, right? We're here to make an impact and serve others. So whatever my gifts are, building deep relationships, layering questions, and having great interviews, and bringing other people's stories, I want to bring stories to the masses, whether it's mine, whether it's yours, or however many more of these amazing individuals that I can use as a catalyst to inspire billions of people to know that, hey, there's always something else. Like, you may be down now, but you know what? Everybody loves Rocky. Why did everybody love Rocky, man? Because he won, then he got his butt kicked, then he trains, and he's blue collar, and he comes back and he wins it all. America loves a good comeback story, so make that next comeback story be you.
Where can we find you on social media? Where can the fans follow you?
Yeah, well, they can follow me at the Shawn French, SHAWN French. A new website's being built out, and we'll have a redirect, but right now it's www.theshawnfrench.com. And man, go listen to the Determined Society. Yeah. You're on there, amazing story. So for people listening, man, the Determined Society is where stories of determination lie. And so if you want to get involved with me, go find it on Apple or Spotify, The Determined Society with Shawn French. Binge listen to all the episodes, and then find ways to connect with me in the show notes. I leave a link where you can find me, and I respond currently to all my DMs. It's me. It's nobody else. That'll change soon, but that's where you guys can find me.
I love it, man.
Yeah, man.
It was great to have you on the show.
I appreciate it.
Man, I'm over here inspired. I was going to hit an hour on the treadmill after my lift. Now we got to hit 2, just because we talked with Shawn French.
Oh, today. Man, I appreciate that, dude.
But I appreciate you coming on, man. It was a blessing to sit down on the show with you.
Oh, likewise, bro. Great to see you, and thanks for having me on, brother.